I'm back. Yes, I sorted out the slight technical issue from yesterday with the video, and now it's all good. Thank you for joining me for another one of my videos, and happy Saturday to you. Hope your weekend is shaping up nicely, as is the price action, I would say. So, not a lot has changed really since, well, to be honest, Thursday into Friday. I did kind of think, weekend's probably going to have quite low volatility. You do tend to see that you do get, the odd weekend of volatile price action. But for example, this was a weekend here, pretty unremarkable. Looks like this one's going to be very similar. Let's just hope it doesn't sell off as much as this one did. I feel like it won't, but I don't know because I can't predict the future. However, I can read the chart and look at the price action. So you can see that the Bollinger Band expansion continues. It is cooling off a little bit, but you kind of expect that a bit over the weekend. And this is on the daily time frame, and it's in no danger of reversing that as long as the price stays above, at the moment, basically 59, which is where the midpoint is. Support resistance line on the daily there's a few different little support resistance areas, but it's probably more these wick lows here. So it's probably more like 57.4 if you're just looking at the price action itself and not using the Bollinger Band. So that's, that's all good. From a momentum point of view, the MACD is going to continue to rise and remain above the zero line as long as Bitcoin closes today, which will be in 4 hours, above, just call it 61,000. It's a fair bit away from there. I think it's a safe bet to presume that will be the case, and this will march further on up. Nothing else I really want to say about the daily there. I'm going to check in on the weekly on Bybit tomorrow because it's Saturday, right? And it doesn't close until tomorrow evening. Well, it never closes, but tomorrow midnight is the weekly closure. You can see, I'll just recap where CME closed. So CME closed its weekly candle at basically 63,000. So there's not been much price to the upside since then. Now, the 4 hour, the 4 hours just basically been consolidating over the weekend. You can see it's just going sideways here. It's remaining above the midpoint on the Bollinger Band there, but the volatility is now cooling off on the 4 hour. And it'd be interesting to see if Bitcoin on the 4 hour time frame can hold this midpoint, which obviously is a dynamic. It's a moving average, so it's dynamic, and it moves with each closure. However, at the moment, it's basically, let's call it 62.5. And so it'd be interesting to see if it remains above the midpoint or the 20 SMA on the Bollinger Band coming into next week. And then if the 4 hour does cool off a bit more and the Bollinger Bands narrow in, then the next volatility expansion on the 4 hour would more than likely be to the upside as long as price remains upside of the 20 SMA. It's a different story if it ends in the bottom section, if then volatility expands to the downside. The momentum is still cooling off a bit, and although the pivot for this to turn green again is now at 63, just call it 63.5, and you can see Bitcoin is not far away from there with 60 minutes to go. So I think it probably will cool off probably for the rest of the weekend. Maybe a bit of just sideways chop over the weekend on these lower time frames. I wouldn't be surprised if it's something like that, and then into the beginning of the week, and then take it from there. But yeah, maybe it'll explode tomorrow and prove me wrong, but I'd like to see that, obviously. With regards to pullback targets for this last 4 hourly impulsive move, I would be so bold to suggest something thus. So you can see that's from the low to the high, and the current price action has indeed pulled back to 382, which is the most shallow of the retracements following an impulsive move. It's pulled back to 382. The 0.5 is coming in at 61.5 and the 618 is coming at 61,000. Both of those would be in the bottom part of the Bollinger Band. But, you know, much like this move here, as long as you don't then get volatility expansion when the price is in the bottom half, which there wasn't, then it's just sideways consolidation, right? So that's what's so cool about a Bollinger Band. It's such a good indicator because it gives you some pivots, it gives you volatility expansion, and it gives you trend. So, you know, trending above the midpoint with volatility expanding and contracting, but price remaining above the midpoint. So there was volatility expansion up to about here, and then volatility contraction to here. It remained above the midpoint, and then when volatility expanded again, it was above the midpoint, and then the volatility cooled off, came down to the bottom of the Bollinger Band, but volatility didn't expand from there, and then it crossed below and carried on with the trend. So the trend is still definitely a friend if you're looking for more upside, which indeed I am. I think most people are. Question on all our minds is, will this bleed into a change on the higher time frames from, it's too much gunk on the, excuse me for a moment, too much gunk on the chart. There's all this jazz. Will the slower time frame price action bleed into the, say, the weekly, for example, get candle closures back above the midpoint, and then you'd be looking for, at the moment, volatility expansion to the upside to occur with some weekly closures back above 72, which is, you know, not a million miles away from the current all-time high. So, so yeah, I feel feeling fairly bullish and have been for a while. If you've been watching my videos, my cautious optimism started here and has become less cautious as the days go on. But it will remain there until the chart tells me something else, and then, you know, I'll switch accordingly. But yeah, I think for right now, looks like more upside, unless something drastic changes with the trend on most of the time frames. All right, that's the video. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please like and subscribe, share, do all that good stuff. And join me for tomorrow for Sunday, and we'll check in a bit closer on that weekly closure for Bybit. Take care. See you tomorrow.